Well, welcome to the Matching Ideas with Resources Networking Podcast, sponsored by GLM Financial. We're an accounting firm in Schaumburg, focusing on providing professional accounting and business services to small and medium-sized businesses. GLM is the accounting department, bookkeeper, tax specialist, or business strategist for small business owners. My name is Tom Gosche. I'm the host for today, and I am a business strategist with GLM. We have our pulse on our clients' financial situations, and each month we sit down with our clients and review financial statements. And by doing this, the business owner can see where their revenues, where their expenses, and any other financial data is at. So in some cases, recognizing the client needs some things for their business, some cost-cutting things that they can do. And we offer suggestions. We've got just ways of just being able to cut things, but then we also need to bring in resources because maybe they're paying too much and they've been paying the same amount, so that's really important. In other cases, the expenses seem okay and they might need revenues to grow, so we need to bring in some ideas, and when we can't fulfill those ideas, we bring in resources to be able to help them. So today I brought together 5 outstanding businesses and business resources to talk about how they can help small business owners take their business to the next level. First is happy to announce that Katie Berganske-Frank is from Amcheck. Katie and Amcheck provide payroll processing to businesses and also some human resources benefits and to businesses. Howard Larson with Larson Associates, they do business-to-business telemarketing and appointment setting. Vic Dunbar is he's not a social media strategist, if I read it correctly, right? He is with Chicago Commercial Realty and does commercial real estate. Dee Reinhardt, now she is the social media strategist and helps businesses start and continue a social media campaign. Don Hill is a commercial banking expert from Wells Fargo, and he can help get businesses financing. So what each of the attendees are going to do today, including myself, will each give about 3 minutes about their business. They'll talk a little bit about what they do, they'll talk about how they do it, and they'll share a story on how they've helped businesses. And we are going to be starting out with Katie.
Fantastic. Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Katie Berganske-Frank. I represent a company called Amcheck. We're a locally owned and operated payroll and human capital management company in Schaumburg. We are a national company. We have clients in all 50 states, but our concentration is within the Chicagoland area. We have clients of many different types and sizes. We are predominantly referral based, so we don't actually necessarily pick the size of the company that is referred on over to us, but we do manage the landscape between 1 and usually about 500 employees, but we do have bigger. I can't say that we have smaller. What's smaller than 1? But that gives you a good idea. Yeah, right? We are in a variety of industries. We have a lot of our core is in restaurant, manufacturing. We handle a lot of transportation and logistics, which is really interesting to me. But we do definitely span any industry that really comes our way. I think the next one was to give an example.
Yeah.
I actually have a really great one that fits nicely in our wheelhouse. So there's a company, about 140 employees. They're based in Chicagoland, multi-state. So they have employees everywhere. They're a property management company. And when I was first brought to the table with this organization, they were very stressed with costs that they were incurring. They had multiple functions beyond payroll and taxes that they were managing that attached to payroll and taxes, right? Human resources, benefit administration, that kind of thing. And we were able to help align those processes and streamline functions to basically take a lot of load off of the main HR person. When you have 140 employees and just one HR person that also does payroll and everything, it can be a lot. So that's a really great example of a traditional client for us.
So that person is less stressed.
Less stressed, yes.
Every time the payroll comes around.
In fact, they're actually adding on another 100 employees as we speak. So to be able to minimize that amount of stress and help her with those type of transitions, They're in acquisition phases. That's why. We're always very happy to help companies like that, and they're locally owned and operated here in Chicagoland. So that's always a nice thing to be able to help the local companies.
That's good. Okay. Anybody have any questions? We'll get more down the road. Very good. Well, thank you for that. We're actually going to jump over to Howard Larson Associates.
Howard Larson, Larson Associates. We are a business-to-business telemarketing, teleprospecting company for lead generation, for new account acquisition. As I say, we bother people at lunch, not at dinner. Primarily, we focus on small to medium-sized businesses that don't have or are not going to put in their own call center and or only need a piece of a caller. They don't need a 40-hour person on the phone calling day in, day out. Most businesses don't need that amount of intense calling. 90% of the companies we work with are only using 10 to 15 hours a week, which keeps it very affordable, and we can run a straight hourly or an hourly with incentive type program. Our focus is, for the most part, 60% of our business comes from printers, advertising specialty companies, exhibit houses, large format companies, with the balance coming from manufacturers, employment agencies, and some other companies. We work across the country, on the lower 48, and also into Canada. And we are a virtual company. Back in '06, when gas here in Illinois hit $4.50 a gallon, looked at everybody and said, we do not have to drive 20 miles into an office when the technology is there to do a 20-foot commute into a spare room. So I don't see my people. They work out of Florida, Louisiana, Texas, Nebraska, Minnesota, and Illinois. And a case study would be a printer. They had a salesperson. He was an excellent face-to-face printer. He could sell printing, just get him in front of somebody, but he had massive call reluctance. We're talking a person that would stare at the phone for 20 minutes before he could pick it up and make a call. In that amount of time, one of my people can make probably 6 to 7 calls. And our ratios tend to be pretty good, lower than normal, where we will actually get a lead out of every 10 to 14 calls. So basically, we're getting an actual lead once an hour for any given company that fits our specialty.
Nice. Any questions? Well, thank you, Howard. Now we're going to have Vic tell us a little bit about your business.
Well, good afternoon. I'm Vic Dunbar. The name of my company is Chicago Commercial Realty Brokerage, or the CCRB. We're a family-owned full-service brokerage house here in the western suburbs. We work with businesses that are looking to buy or lease commercial property, whether that would be office space, retail space, or industrial space like manufacturing, distribution, that type of thing. Primarily, we work with businesses that are looking for space, as opposed to representing the other side of the table, which would be building owners. Oftentimes, people forget that when they see that big sign out in front of a building that says for lease or for sale, they contact that broker. That broker's obligation is to the building owner. It's not to the person who is looking for space. So we're on the other side of the table. We help those people who are looking for space have good representation and make sure that they get a fair deal from the building owner or the other broker. So we represent them. Our responsibility is to them. As I mentioned too, mostly in the western suburbs, and we work a lot with smaller to mid-sized companies, locally owned, family-owned businesses like ourselves. We find that a lot of businesses that are smaller, kind of off the radar on some of the bigger brokerage houses, and we like working with those people. We're fully licensed here in Illinois. We can work with any size company. We have all of the tools at our disposal that any other brokerage house, commercial house has. So we can, you know, we can represent anybody, but our niche seems to be more with this smaller to mid-sized company that needs maybe a little bit more consulting than some of the larger guys, and we do spend the time. One of the examples that we had is that we worked with an insurance agency. She was looking for an office condo and wasn't quite sure where to look, so we went kind of all over the place looking for a space. The added complication was that the insurance company that she worked for, she couldn't locate within 5 miles of another one. So what we had to do was to take a Google map, look at all of the other insurance companies in her company, make sure that the space that we found was 5 miles from the other one, so it kind of further, you know, made the search really finite. We did find a couple of places. She really wanted to make sure that she got a good deal, and it took almost a year to find a good spot for her. And we found that place, negotiated the sale, and got her in, and she's been doing very well ever since. So it was a good win.
Yeah, that's wild how you gotta kind of keep all that into consideration.
Right.
Adds to the
kind of another layer of
yeah. And if this wasn't bad enough, here's what else.
Yes.
We gotta do.
Right.
Very good, very good. All right, well, thank you for that. And next we will have Dee Reinhardt. She will talk about social media marketing for businesses.
Hi, my name is Dee Reinhardt. I am a social media strategist. I own my own company, Time to Market. One of the things that I like to do, and I've just changed my tagline because my husband and I also own a construction company. So what I've decided to do as my tagline is I can design, build, or remodel your social media marketing. It was just a little fun change. So, but basically that's what it is. A lot of people have maybe implemented a social media presence, for lack of a better word. I can't call it a strategy for anything, but maybe they've signed up for a couple of different platforms. And what I do is I go in and I take a look at where they are, how they show up on the rankings, what they show up in when a Google search is done or Bing search is done. Find out where they rank with different things, what their competition is, where all of those different platforms land. Then we go to work. And when we go to work, it may be, maybe you like to do stuff on your own. Or maybe you just need me to do it for you. Or perhaps you're kind of a mix of both and you just need a strategy put in place so that you know that you're doing the right thing when. What I do then is I make this plan and do all of these different things with you, and we can work it out so that it's a monthly sort of thing, or it is I just go for it and work it out. One of my clients is a chiropractor. He has a chunk of time in the middle of the day between his morning and afternoon set of patients, so he does like to do a lot of his posting on his own. One of the things that we do is we sit down on a monthly or every other month kind of basis and say, all right, where do you need to go? What's your plan? What do you have coming up? And then we put together the different aspects. After we started working together, he saw a 35% increase in traffic to his website based on his social footprint. And it was just amazing. He ranked his Yelp rankings up because we went on a review campaign to have his clients and his customers come in and do some reviews. And in some cases, that's all that really needs to be done. And one of the things that I do like to tell people, be where your clients are. If your clients are on LinkedIn, that's where you need to focus your energy. If your clients are on Facebook, focus your energy there. And if you don't know where they are, ask them. Maybe you have Howard do a telephone survey for you, and you have them figure it out. So that's me in a nutshell.
And your new tagline is?
Let me design, build, or remodel your social media marketing.
I like it. I like that a lot. Very good. Very cool. And, well, not last, because I'm actually last, but we're from Don Hill. He'll talk about commercial financing at Wells Fargo.
Right.
I'm Don Hill. I'm Vice President of Wells Fargo Bank in the commercial world, business banking world. I've been out here for 25 years plus. I enjoy helping business owners and investors find the right financial products that are available in the financial arena to better their company, save them cash flow, and reduce their overhead. Also, too, I do offer them access to one of the best professional networks in the Chicagoland area. Hence why we're all here today. I'm always trying to build better networks up to offer my clients the best people out there, outside the financial world as well as within the financial world. So I'm out there every day trying to meet business owners, investors, and make sure I'm adding value adds to my network as well. We focus as a team approach, so we are not just one individual business banker out there. I work as a whole team. So we can offer insurance to clients. We can also offer business cash management. We offer fraud protection, merchant services, as well as lines of credit, term loans, and we do have one of the strongest leasing companies out there as well behind Wells Fargo. So we are in almost one of every 4 households. So we do have a nice name out there. On the business banking side, we are building that up very fast in the Chicagoland market. We've only been here for 5 years, but across the states, we've been out here for hundreds of years, as you guys know. So what do I like to do? I like to help business owners. One of the last business owners that I helped was a gentleman I got a call from, a CFO I met at a networking event. I'm very unhappy because he toured all the time, different countries to find his products, and he could never find a good mobile platform that would work for him with this other bank he was using. So we went in there, we showed him our top of the state-of-the-art online platform for him. We can pull up all the reports, see all his production, where his employees are at, everything else there. It was a really good deal win because, again, insurance, everything else came along with that. Good lockbox services, cash management products. And then one of the things that businesses do miss a lot in today's world is the cyber fraud piece. So it's always nice to get a second review on the commercial insurance world there. And believe it or not, Wells Fargo is also one of the largest commercial insurance brokers out there in the United States. Another gentleman I just helped recently was a dentist looking to buy a new practice, so a second practice, looking to buy $700,000 for a building, $700,000 for the practice. With our practice finance group, with some gentlemen on my team as well, we did 100% financing for him. So we didn't have to come up with any cash out. We have equity loans against the company, everything else. It's just very creative how we can do that. And being in the M&A world, one of the things we do too is we are a preferred lender with them. So that means a lot of times you're buying a building, you're going to owner occupy that, we can get a little as way as 10% down, or you're doing M&A where you got a lot of goodwill in there, we can do that with a collateral shortfall. So at Wells, we do work as a team approach, we're a relationship bank, and we can pretty much offer anything in the financial world under the sun. And then again, with my expertise that I bring to the table, it's creating the right professional network around those clients.
Look at that. I mean, I didn't tell anybody in the world, but we are timing these three minutes, and Don was perfection. Now it's my turn to introduce myself, and I'll click over. I was infatuated by your picture, and I just didn't want to change over to Don's. Yeah, so it took a second. You can all understand why. No, I'm just kidding. So GLM, we're a full-service accounting firm here in Schaumburg, and we service small, medium-sized businesses. So we can basically become the accountant or bookkeeper or tax specialist or business strategist for their business. So as your accounting department, what we do is every month come back to you with your profit and loss statements, your balance sheets, and talk you through them. Where you need to cut, how you need to improve, different things that come up, and that's when we have opportunities for resources. As your bookkeeper, we can do the day-to-day stuff that entrepreneurs and business owners don't always want to do, like invoicing your clients or paying your bills or all those other fun things that kind of get put last on some people's lists. We make sure that those get done. As your tax specialist, 2015 is over, but the tax season for that is begun, and we can get those 2015 taxes done, as well as start planning for the future, as well as go back in time if you may have had a slip and forgot a year or something like that happens. And then as your business strategist, GLM brings professional, skilled business strategist to help you take a look at everything and help you come up with ideas and come up with solutions for any situations that might come up. So not all business owners need all of our services, so we can start with whatever is most precedent in their minds and kind of work from there. Recently I was brought out to a client by one of the accountants who has a business that has 4 different parts to it. And 3 of the 4 parts are profitable and revenues are growing every month. And the 4th one, it was kind of stagnant, and then over the last few months has gone down. So over the course of the next month, I helped put together kind of a business plan for some strategies and ideas to get the revenues going on that part of that business. So I actually want to take that scenario and bring it to you guys and see how, hypothetically, in some cases, in other cases, actually, you know, some ideas that I can bring and then provide you as a resource to him for different things that have come up. So we're actually going to start with Dee on this one, the social media part of it. He has Facebook, he has Twitter. His website was just redesigned and actually looks pretty good. Nothing is working together, and I suppose I should tell you what kind of business it is too, huh? That's usually helpful. It's a service station, it's a gas station. It sells gas, obviously. There's a store for like a convenience mart. There is a car wash. And then the part that is underperforming is the service. There's 4 bays, and generally they're busy, but they're not going crazy. So what are some of the first steps that you would take a look at for a business like this, social media wise?
First thing I would probably do is take a look to see how many likes or fans he has on his Facebook page. I would also take a look to see how many reviews he has on his Facebook page. Because so many people these days worry about peer reviews. Where's the vet that you go to? Where's the service station that you go to? Where's the dry cleaners that you go to? So they look for that peer recommendation. Mm-hmm. And if somebody has done some really great reviews on the Facebook page, they're going to pay a little bit more attention. To incorporate the website with the social media, I would put some coupons on his website and then share those out on the social media. I would also make sure that he had his Yelp and his Google and Bing map locations mapped out with review possibilities.
Okay. When you're talking about sharing, like on Facebook, the coupons, so you would have them have to go to the website to get the coupons, or they could just get it directly from
he might have a landing page.
Okay.
And have the coupon on the landing page that he could share, and then it would just be a click from
Okay.
his social media.
Or sometimes just bring in the phone and say, hey, I got a coupon on Facebook.
Exactly.
And
Snapchat's a huge platform these days.
There. Oh, geez. I don't even know what that is. All I know is that I know my kids use Snapchat, so as soon as we're on it, they'll be off of it. So we'll see what happens there.
Yes, you are correct.
It's the place for the millennials these days.
It is. Very good. Okay, well, thank you. Well, keeping in line with trying to generate more revenue, one of the suggestions that I came up with for him was increasing his fleet service. And fleet service would be a company that provides cars to their employees. It could be just cars. It could be a HVAC company that provides vans and things like that. But that would be more of a business-to-business sale. And my suggestion was to have his service manager, when there is some downtime, make some telephone calls to some of the local businesses. And his eyes got all saucery big, saying, you want him to do what? So now I need Howard to talk about how you might be able to put together some kind of telemarketing plan that could help him get his service manager in front of business owners that have fleets.
Well, knowing full well that if it was my personal car, I might slide my oil change an extra 1,000, 2,000, or 3,000 miles before I get it. A business is not gonna do that. A business, a trade company, perhaps a limo company, they're gonna want service when the vehicle needs it. They're gonna want it to look good because it's a reflection on them. So we're gonna target companies that actively use vehicles in their businesses. It could be, as I say, limo drivers. It could be plumbers, heating, air conditioning.
All the trades.
Not just, more and more, a lot of sales departments are having their own salespeople from their own cars, so they're gonna be on their own. But in the service side, where we have vehicles with vehicle wraps, they want them to look good. So we're gonna take a list of that type of a company, we're gonna work a radius around the shop, working on an outward street, knowing that if the company gets beyond probably 4 miles away, they're not gonna drive that far to have their vehicle serviced or cleaned. Gonna get that list, give it to a caller, and she's going to actively call out to the owner and or fleet manager, and attempt to set up the initial face-to-face contact or permission to send information, at which time the information sent via mail or email, I prefer email, and then call back and set up the appointment.
Very good. The one thing I didn't think of that I thought you were going toward was having your folks call every 3 months for the oil change. That's a little bit different. I know that there are some people that get an email that says, hey, you know, it's 3,000 miles, it's 3 months or 3,000 miles, but an actual call saying, hey, this is the service station, it's been 3,000 miles, why don't you come in, get an oil change and a car wash. That could be something, and I know that's something that he wouldn't want to do. Very good.
That is sort of a service that we offer, being what I call orphan accounts, which is an account that maybe they only buy 1, 2, 3, 4 times a year. They're not worth a salesperson's effort to keep contact on.
Very good, very good. And I kept the slide on D again. I just infatuated. So we'll just we'll keep our Howard slide up there for a little bit.
It's a social media, it always clicks right back on the
It's automatic. Well, what I'm going to do now is kind of take a step back and kind of look at the expenses, and that's leading me to Katie and payroll. Right now, I believe that they're doing their payroll themselves. They have 20 or so employees that get paid weekly. What are your first steps in order to help them out? What do you need to know?
Yeah, there's always a little bit extra of a sensitive area when somebody has payroll being done in-house. There's always a reason that they haven't yet outsourced, right? So that's always the first thing that I always want to understand.
Why?
Is why, yeah, because a lot of companies outsource their payroll, but there are also quite a good handful who don't. Locally owned and operated businesses sometimes think that it's too expensive to outsource, but when we identify all the different moving parts with an analysis, it gives us the ability to really understand not only why they're in-house currently, but how to help them understand the value of outsourcing their payroll.
Right.
Traditionally, one of the biggest values is compliance, right? When you're talking about that many employees, from everything from making sure you're doing your taxes the right way, as you know, right? Your deposits and filings, managing federal, state, your unemployments as well.
Right.
Heck, making sure that those employees are employees, W-2 employees, or if they're 1099s, why are they 1099s and your classifications? So compliance is a really big key when sitting down with a new company that's in-house. But there are a lot of other moving parts like time.
Right.
How much time are they spending on their payroll? How much time are they spending with HR? Do they have a designated HR person? Usually with that size company, they don't. The owner is wearing tons of different hats, including the payroll person, the HR person, the benefits person. So if they're offering health insurance, Maybe not for that type of company, they're
I don't
not.
think so.
But you never know. I
Right.
certainly have been surprised with some of the local companies offering insurance in industries where you wouldn't suspect it being that small, right? So really getting that full out platform with an analysis is the starting point.
Yeah.
And out of the gate, we usually don't talk about price, even if that's one of their hot buttons, right? Because we need to understand what all their functions are first.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
how they work and why they're doing it the way they're doing it. Very
Yep.
good. All right. Excellent. So the other thing that we had to take a look at when we were talking with this particular client was his age. He is getting up there in years and has owned the business for more 25, 30 years, something like that. Started just as gas pumps and expanded and expanded and expanded, which also included the land that it's on. And so if he's at a point where he's thinking about succession planning, doesn't always mean selling the business, but just being able to not have to wear all the different hats. So part of what we're trying to do is make sure that there's managers in each of those different parts that he can be comfortable with. But also just to kind of see what is the value of the property, what's the value of the business, kind of see where he's at there. Vic, I know, because I've actually asked you about this already and kind of forgot, I know that you don't work specifically with gas stations, but what are some of the things that a business owner should look at when they're trying to value kind of their property and where they're at?
Right, well, the property, when you look at a piece of property, it's, what use does it have right now? And so you want to compare that with also where it is, location. Commercial is no different from residential in that area. It's all location. And then the type of property that you have. With a service station, you have kind of an added caveat with the underground storage tanks, because there's a lot of rules and regulations that are out there. Was there ever a leak there? You need to do your phase 1 and phase 2 studies to make sure that the property hasn't been contaminated.
Which is very important on the next step. They need to finance it. The first thing the bank's going to come do is say, you got a phase 1 or phase 2?
These guys are raising their hands, going, oh man.
We'll get to you, Don. He's getting excited.
But one of the things he may want to one of the things that he may want to consider would be, if he's selling the business, he may want to keep the property and just lease the property to the new business owner. That way, he has an income. He has very little to do. You do it on a triple net basis, and the new owner is responsible for all the upkeep and everything. He's just leasing the property and collects his monthly check, and he's done.
Right.
The other thing that I wanted to mention was that while I don't work with service stations, I do work with auto repair companies. And it is extremely difficult to find space for an auto repair company. Either the zoning isn't right, or if the zoning's right, the owner of the property doesn't want, if he's leasing, the owner of the property doesn't want auto repair. So if he's really having an issue with his 4 bays, he could probably very easily lease that out to an auto repair, to a mechanic, and just take that as
if you're looking closely at me right now, I've got the devil ears coming out, and we've actually thought about that and been able to either rent all of it or each bay to a different organization for overflow. So that was one of the ideas. But that's when you bring ideas and resources together, you got this what is it? Super brainstorming.
Right.
Like the super fun friends. Who was that? They bring the rings together. I'm too young, too old.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's all right. Well, when your joke dies, you bring it to the next person in line, and you make him suffer. So poor Don gets to go next. But yeah, it's a service station. But also, tell us in general what you would do in a situation like this, where we're just kind of trying to value the business. We're trying to see what the next steps would be, and potentially somebody that can either take it over with a business loan or take the next steps. What would you do?
Plan early.
Yes, thank
I don't
you.
care if it's a 1, 3, or a 5-year window, because a lot of times succession planning is not going over to the family.
Mhm.
It is going out to a buyer, so a lot of stuff you could be doing, like the banks can come in and look at anything that can reduce the overhead on a
Mhm.
monthly basis, whether it's merchant services, hire a good payroll company out
Mhm.
there, insurance, everything else too. Along with, you need to, I have my pictures out there. You need to
Well, I
also,
switched it because it was Vic that was up
Yeah,
there,
please.
not Dee, so.
You did everybody a favor.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wait a minute, you don't have to do that.
in today's world too, with all the write-offs, everything else in there, you gotta start looking at, is there any personal items that are being expensed that you can get out? Because again, this is about improving sales and improving your net income, because you're gonna take a certain amount of EBITDA and times it by that, and that's gonna be your value of the company.
Wait, what did you say? Did you sneeze? What,
I did.
What are those words that you're saying?
Focus on net income as
Net
well,
income.
and increasing sales. Because a lot of times when an owner starts to check out, they do that, and they are the main driver of the company, so their sales start to be affected, everything else comes down. Well, this is the time they should really be working the hardest to get those up, especially in the last couple of years, and the economy hasn't been the best there as well. So it's really important that you keep the person engaged. Also, too, they're going to have to stay on for some sort, whether that's 6 months, a year, or 2 years there. But the nice part is, talk to your network again, make sure you got the right people in place, because if someone's looking to buy, we could probably do that acquisition with as little as 10% down
Okay.
sometimes. Other piece too is, with my 25 years of experience, I go into companies and I'd say, hey, did you ever think about this? And I know in the auto bodies, the auto mechanics shops, they always heavily discount their oil changes, because they know if you're coming here from your oil change, you're going to come here to get your car fixed.
Mhm.
And my best clients who do it really well probably don't even make any money off the oil change. But every time the car breaks, guess who they're calling?
Yeah.
And again, that ways that will fill up your bays that aren't being used as much. You might not be making money off it, but in the long run, you'll still come up through with more income just by, again, they're comfortable with you, you treat them fair, they're going to come back when there's a problem in the car.
Yeah, very good. Cool. While we're brainstorming, is anybody that I talked to earlier, do you have anything to add that you just thought of?
Well, on my side, I might
Mhm.
take the past people that have visited their shop for the last 3 years
Mm-hmm.
and call them. Be it, it could be commercial or residential. If they've used them, the do not call list does not apply.
Right.
Because they are a client. So I can legally call them.
Well, that was one of the things when I had spelled out some strategy for them to do kind of the right away. Here's something that you can do right away very easily, was making sure they get the right information from their current client. Are they getting the emails? Sometimes they can't, it's hard to do the @ symbol, so they skip it, or it's a long one, and so they just don't put it in. No, it's very important. You got to get the email in there at least. You've got to get, just all your data in there correctly so that we can use it. So definitely. Well, I wanted to kind of close here. As I mentioned earlier, GLM is here to help business owners solve their business challenges. And as I said before, in some cases, we want our business owner clients to decrease expenses and increase revenues. And so when we're decreasing expenses and taking a look at those different line items, we want to either show them how to do it because we have the experience and other people have done it, and if they're not using the right people, bring them in to help them. The same with the increasing of revenues is making sure that they have some business building strategies in place that they can measure, that they can move forward. And if it's not, if the stuff that I give them to do right away doesn't work or it's not enough, then we can bring in some of our resources and be able to help them grow their business. So today, again, we heard from 5 outstanding business professionals. I appreciate you guys being here, putting up with my tongue-tied words, which is kind of odd considering I'm not always tongue-tied, but I do okay. But thank you for coming. I wanted to thank Katie from Amcheck, Howard from Howard Larson Associates, the business-to-business telemarketing, Vic on commercial real estate. I can actually say Vic now. About 2 months ago when we talked, I couldn't get the word Vic out of it wasn't coming out at the time. Dee with the social media marketing, and Don with the commercial banking. And thanks again to everybody. Thank you for listening. Again, my name is Tom Gosche, business strategist with GLM, steering direction, matching ideas with resources.
Okay.
Thank you for
Thank you.
inviting us.
Thank you.
Yeah.